Mr. Paul Brenner, please step up to the podium. The podium in the back. Yes, sir.
Sorry about that.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
You're recognized. You got 5 minutes.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I want to mention why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. Some of us candidates did not get the letter about the proceedings of this evening, so I thought I was just going to sit back, relax, listen to the voting, see who wins, you know. I didn't expect that I would be showing everybody my tennis shoes and things, or else I would have worn my signature suit that I've always worn during the campaign. Secondly, I'm going to try to answer some questions that were asked earlier this evening by some other council people that I didn't get a chance to answer because you kind of drifted in and whatever, and since I'm a Brenner with a B, I was first and didn't get a chance to answer all your questions. So that's one of the things I'm going to do. So for those of you who have open minds, who didn't decide 2 weeks ago who you were going to vote for, and who may have actually put it in the newspaper who you were going to vote for, you know, there seems to be sort of a trend here, not only in the council but also in the education area, where people are being picked without actually being interviewed. So I'm going to try to, for those of you who are still open-minded, I'm going to try to answer some questions that were asked earlier that I didn't get a chance to say anything about. First one, school uniforms. I'm not going to do them in any particular order. The question was, you know, what do we think about school uniforms? Basically, I think, and by the way, I think some of you know that I used to teach for 10 years in Metro. My thoughts at the time were if they had controlled the dress code at the time, they would not need school uniforms. That now that we have school uniforms, I don't believe that some should have them and some shouldn't. We need to make up our mind who's going to have them. You know, we all should have them, or we should all not have them. One high school should not have different rules and regulations than another one, so let's decide which way we're going to go, and let's do it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to try to answer, or try to address myself later if I have time during the 5 minutes. The mayor takeover. What do you think about the mayor takeover if you decide to get appointed this evening? Well, if I get appointed this evening, I'm going to do the best job I can to show the mayor that I'm going to be a good person on the Board of Education. As a boss, he then has a choice to fire me or let me stay. And that's the way I look at it. The reason I'm actually running for the board or trying to be on a board is I don't believe that the students in Nashville are getting their proper education as far as achieving their full potential. And I believe that I've seen that when I was a teacher. I sometimes don't get points because I don't have children in school right now. My wife Barbara and I, we've been married for 44 years. We have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. We don't have children in school anymore. Our baby is, I think, 37 years old. And I probably don't get too many points at the booth because I'm not a parent, and that's really a shame. Charter schools. I am against charter schools. I think charter schools take away funds from the regular school system. I think charter schools don't follow the same rules and regulations, and therefore they're not the same apples and oranges. It's too bad they don't have certified teachers in charter schools, because we try to get certified teachers in regular school, and we're having a hard time doing that, and sometimes having a hard time doing the job. So you can imagine in some cases, if they don't even have certification, how hard it is in charter schools. Cell phones was a question. I don't believe students ought to have cell phones in a classroom. If they want in their cars or their lockers or whatever, that's fine. There's still a way of taking care of emergencies either in school or out of school if people need to be communicated with. We were also asked, and I didn't get a chance to answer the question, what we thought of Pedro on a rating of 1 to 10. Of the 28 years that I've lived in Tennessee, Of all the superintendents I've seen in this school system, I would have to give him probably a 2. I was not too happy with Pedro. He's probably one of the reasons I decided to retire 2 years ago when I really didn't want to. I think if there's any candidates here that believe he was a good superintendent, you need to be careful appointing those people.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Thank you for your time.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Next candidate.